Okay, hi! I'm not gonna lie, this isn't really a video I was even planning on doing, but there's no way I don't take like 10 minutes to rant about a Puma character that's getting some attention. One of my favorite things about being a furry is when an anthro character comes out of nowhere and artists just start drawing them. It just never gets old. So you can probably imagine my reaction when this started happening after my favorite football team in Mexico introduced their new Puma mascot for the women's team. I'm sure you can probably see why I would love a character like this, and I'll definitely explain more in a little bit. But first, I think some background information about the team's mascots couldn't hurt. The men's team already had one, and I honestly thought it was just a mascot for the football club as a whole. The name of the team is literally Pumas Unam, so it would be kinda silly if the mascot was anything but a puma. The first mascot is called Goyo, and I love him. His expression looks a bit silly, but he's also kinda buff, so it's a bit of an odd combination, but I just can't help but smile every time I see him. Goyo's name is similar to the word Goya, which is part of an anthem that supporters shout during matches. And now, Goya is also the name of this new mascot for the women's team. She's just a natural colored puma with a red nose and golden eyes. The costume itself definitely looks like a typical sports mascot, but her eyes actually kinda look like the mesh eyes that some fursuits have. If you look closely, they're not exactly follow-me eyes, but it doesn't seem like they're that far off, to be honest. But anyway, that's the new mascot of one of my favorite football teams. There's really not a whole lot to say about her design, and yet more artists than I would have expected have started drawing her. So what do I think about this? I love it, except for the not safe for work art. I'm not surprised that there is art like that, but I'm just enjoying all the other art people are making, because this is literally the perfect combination for me. It's a feline character who's a puma and plays football. I guess I just wanted to take some time to talk about this phenomenon of anthro characters made outside of the furry fandom getting attention inside of the fandom. And what better way to touch on this subject than by checking out cool art of this niche character that a handful of artists picked up. Obviously this isn't shocking, but for the most part Goya has been drawn either playing football or posing with a ball. It just makes the most sense, and I really love seeing how each artist gives her a touch of personality. In most of the drawings, she looks confident and even a tiny bit smug, like she knows she's gonna body anyone in a 1v1. Like here, she's looking so smug and asks in Mexican slang if you want to play a pickup game or if you back out. So I really like how artists portray her with that kind of confident energy. And it's even better when it's art with action. I just love seeing how artists handle the football theme, and every piece that shows Goya playing is just incredible. Chest trapping and shooting are classic football moves, so I love that some artists went with those. Unless she was a goalkeeper, you just can't go wrong with a shooting pose when you're drawing any character playing football, really. So that right there is another really good choice from the artists. Especially because it combines so well with the confident expressions that I mentioned before. This can make her look pretty intense, which I also love. In fact, I've thought about taking time to talk about art that looks and feels intense, because it's one of my favorite kinds, and of course it's great seeing Goya have some art that looks this way. Then there's also each artist's individual style. Every piece has its own reasons for why it's so great. The anatomy in this sketch page, for example, is insane. This artist's style blends the human and feline traits just so incredibly well. The poses look so natural, and I love all of the expressions since they very clearly show how she's feeling in each drawing. Just look at that confident blip, it's so good. And I also like the sort of subtle effects that are in each sketch. It makes me think of a comic book style, and I'm all for it. Then you have drawings like these that just look like a poster. I love the ball trapping pose that the artist did here, and that smile is just great. Plus, the color work makes this so visually pleasing. Not only does Goya herself look great, but the background is so good too. I'm serious, this could totally be a poster or a phone wallpaper or something. And honestly, I can say the same thing about some of the other artwork that I came across. Some of the artists did pieces that remind me a lot of the graphic that the team posted to announce Goya. In fact, some even redrew the announcement post entirely, which is really cool because you can see the kind of expression that artists give her, and she looks a lot more like an anthro animal. This piece right here is such a good redraw of the post. I love the style, and the expression fits the post so well, but like I said, not all of them are exact redraws. Some of them show Goya in different poses with a simple background that has the colors of the team, and these are just as good. Maybe the poses are a little more simple, but each artist definitely brings their own flair. I absolutely love how soft the coloring is here, and she just looks so full of personality, and I love it. And here's another one that could totally be a poster. This style is just so cool. It looks like a digital painting with how much the colors mix, but all of the colors really complement each other. Plus, this is one of my favorites when it comes to the pose and expression. It's another one that has that smug and confident energy that I just love so much. Of course, there is more art of Goya out there, but I gotta say, she's not really blowing up as much as other characters, and I think it's because she is pretty niche. So she's not really going to have a backstory or anything. That means that for furries like myself, and probably the audience she was made for honestly, the best thing about her is her design. And that obviously makes it easy for artists to draw her, and leads us to where we are now. I don't think any artist saw the announcement of Goya and then wanted to learn more about her. They probably just saw a nice looking anthro puma and thought, hey, I can draw her. And that's pretty much what's been happening. And as much as I would love for her to be as popular in the furry fandom as Lego Sheep Beastars or Mr. Wolf and Diane Foxington, I think she's going to stay pretty low-key. And I think it's because she's a sports mascot. I feel like the amount of attention that anthro characters grab really depends on the type of character that they are. The ones I mentioned before are anime and movie characters, so they have personalities that can make them even more appealing. It's no longer just about seeing the character and thinking they look cool, because people can actually get to know them and draw them based on their personality and actions. Goya just has her design like I mentioned before, but at least because she is the football mascot, most artists just draw her playing football, which of course I personally like a lot. But anyway, my point is, I think the less that is known about a character, the less attention they tend to get. Unless they have a super cool design or something else that's just really interesting about them. When it comes to sports mascots, the biggest example is probably Savibaka. People were making art of him for a while, and it's not hard to see why. He's just an adorable wolf playing football. His trailer is literally 40 seconds long, and yet... That's really all it takes for furries to love an anthro character. By the way, a lot of people probably don't remember that Savibaka's competition to be the World Cup mascot were two felines, a regular cat and a tiger. I think they're both great, and it's actually hard for me to pick a favorite out of those three, but maybe the cat mascot would have been my choice. And don't get me started on Mexico's mascot for the upcoming World Cup. First of all, I think all of the mascots are great, but being from Mexico originally, and of course loving felines, a jaguar for Mexico's mascot is literally perfect to me. I wish he and the other mascots got a little more attention from artists, because I think I saw maybe 3 pieces a few days after they were announced, and when I went to look for more while making this video, I think I only found like 1 or 2 more pieces that I didn't see at first. I have just a tiny bit of hope that maybe when the World Cup starts, the mascots will be seen more often and more artists will pick them up. But maybe that's just wishful thinking. For now though, shout out to Vistro for single-handedly carrying the artwork of these mascots since he drew Sayu not once, but twice. Or is it technically 3 times because this piece has 2 drawings? Either way, these are 2 of maybe 4 pieces total that I've seen of Sayu, so if we don't get any new art of him, at the very least we do have these 2 bangers. Aside from the World Cup mascots, there are 2 more sports mascots I think are probably the most well-known in the fandom. One of them is Leo. He's the lion mascot of a Japanese baseball team called the Saitama Seibu Lions. And then there's Yako Puma, who is the mascot for the Yaquis de Obregón baseball team in Mexico. I'll be honest, it was kinda hard finding artwork of these 2, but I've definitely seen some floating around over the years. So they still got a bit of attention and are recognizable in the fandom. In fact, I got a picture with the Leo fursuiter at FWA in 2024. I knew I recognized them from somewhere, and it's honestly pretty cool to see that someone liked the mascots so much, to the point that they got a whole fursuit of them. So these are also good examples of how it seems like sports mascots don't tend to blow up in the furry fandom as much as anthro characters from movies, shows, and video games. Although I will say, in the case of Goya, not every single artist who has drawn her is a furry. So even though it's easy to say that furries go crazy over animal characters, sometimes it's not just furries. Now, even though this video was more about sports mascots and furries, I also have to mention yet another Mexican feline character that came out recently. This is Evita. Evita Fuegos, which literally translates to avoid or prevent fires. She was made by the government of the state of Nuevo León in Mexico to encourage people to lower the chances of fires breaking out. It looks like she got the same treatment as Goya, with a handful of artists drawing her. In fact, a couple of the artists who drew Goya also drew Evita, and honestly, I can't complain about seeing a couple of Mexican cats together. One of the artists made a short comic showing just how much people loved Goya before she tells Evita that she's up, and Evita's just thinking, not this again, specifically referring to NSFW art. This is because Evita kinda blew up in August of 2025 after the state released a video of her reminding people that the summer months are especially prone to fires. It's actually a pretty well animated video with good voice acting and sound effects, and of course, Evita is just really cute. She's literally a lion firefighter. From what I can tell, she first appeared in a different video in 2023 that wasn't completely animated, so I guess that wasn't enough to get furries interested back then? I don't know. But coming back to the present, it actually turns out that a third artist who drew Goya drew her and Evita together as well. They're wearing each other's outfits, and Goya says, "I think these role changes are a bit," before Evita finishes her sentence saying, "uncomfortable." It's a pretty fun concept having them walk in each other's shoes, and it's just another example of how much some artists really seem to like both of them. But anyway, the past year has just been great for cat furries, which is a whole different topic that I could touch on. Goya and Evita are pretty niche, but you've also got Paubert and Jet Fillmore, but I'm not gonna talk about them here because I've already yapped enough. It all just goes back to how much I like seeing art of anthro characters that aren't made by someone inside of the fandom. Surely I'm not the only one who feels this way though, right? If you have anthro characters you like that were made outside of the fandom, and they also got attention inside of the fandom, definitely tell me about them. I could honestly talk a lot about just the characters that have become popular in the fandom, and the interesting stuff that I notice about the attention that they get. So maybe I'll make a sort of follow-up video to this topic? If you think that'd be interesting, then let me know as well. Honestly, I really didn't mean to talk as much as I did, and I really didn't mean to just get into a broader conversation about sports mascots and the attention that they get inside of the fandom, but it just kinda happens. I yap a lot, so I'm sorry. I still hope you enjoyed though, so thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care!